Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday night. Hope everybody's having a great evening so far. Trade deadline right around the corner. I know many of you celebrated a victory Monday, as you should if you're a Titans fan. Well done by them to get a win yesterday at Nissan Stadium. But now on to transactions. The deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Ben Hall immediately in the chat says, "Hurt me. I'm ready." Well, I don't know that what I have to say tonight about this is going to hurt you. But I do think that there is a nonsensical situation that has been created around Derrick Henry that also is the fault of the organization that he currently plays for. So we can get into the discussion around Derrick Henry tonight, specifically around Derrick Henry tonight, as rumors, fair or foul rumors, continue to swirl around him today. I've had a lot of phone conversations about Derrick Henry today, and we'll share at least the discussions with you, if not, let you guys on the inside of my phone calls that I've been having since basically 1 o'clock. We'll talk about the who you got in tonight's game between the Lions and the Raiders, and go through the discussion together. Looking forward to getting into it. Always enjoy having you guys in here. Always enjoy when more of you new faces pop into the chat from time to time. Makes me happy. Like Carlos Yates. I don't think I've seen Carlos's name before. Always make me happy when we see new names. And the way that we get new names is by sharing the show around. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. And if you're on YouTube or on Twitch, you can like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, and you can tell a friend to do the same if you have not done so already. And then once you've done that, and as more of you continue to trickle on in here, we'll go ahead and get the show rolling. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, if you're new to the show, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the great people at True Math Fitness in the Gulch. You guys know that Tuesdays and Thursdays are my days at True Math for personal training, but you can go 7 days a week for their group fitness classes for personal training, or just to use their open gym as you please. Your first workout is free at TrueMathFitness.com. Zen Sports, where you wager on apparently game 3 of the World Series. I had no idea that we were already 3 games into the World Series. It's crazy to me. Just found that out earlier because I saw a Twitter notification from Jeff Passan saying Max Scherzer had been pulled. Either way, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, all going on right now. ATOZTN is your code to wager with unlimited 5% cash back in the Zen Sports app. Tell you more about that later. And the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team have you covered. Get your constitutional rights protected the right way with AmandaJGentry.com. Trade deadline. It's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central Time. Josh Medina says, I am not buying the AAS Henry rumor. Buck, what do you think? Well, the whole reason that we're doing this show is because there's too many Derrick Henry rumors, and almost none of them are true. So, Karski has already refuted that Amy Adams Strunk vetoed a trade of Derrick Henry. That was something that she has the power to do theoretically, but not something that ever happened. According to Karski, who is well-sourced in this particular area. I have heard myself that there was only one team that made an offer on him. We talked about Baltimore being the team that was most interested in him. Dallas never made an offer. The Bills already added Leonard Fournette, so they're out of the running back marketplace. And Derrick Henry is just out there in the ether, floating along, right, with very, very little direction and, frankly, been given very little information, at least Derrick Henry specifically. I can't speak for his agent. His agent is Todd France at Athletes First. He's one of the most effective agents in professional football. He's got a lot of high-profile clients, not just Derrick Henry, guys like Aaron Donald, Dak Prescott, like the best of the best for some of the most famous NFL players. Todd France, a very, very effective agent in this area. So what Todd's conversations, and I don't know Todd personally to use, to use him a first name basis, basically, but I can't speak for what Todd France's discussions with the organizations and specifically with the Titans on behalf of Derrick Henry is. Here's what I know, and we'll get into this throughout the course of tonight's show about the Derrick Henry situation. But first, I have to ask you for your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. It's real easy. except Robert did not include the question that I only the title is in the email tonight, Bert, but that's okay. I think I can remember it off the top of my head. In the chat, what's the most likely scenario for the Titans before the trade deadline at this point? Whether that's moving Derrick Henry, whether that's buying another player, whether that's trading somebody else that we haven't talked about tonight. What's the most likely scenario for the Titans ahead of 3 p.m. tomorrow? We'll discuss at length together on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch right after I remind you that the Primetime Show and your Two Rivers Ford Take are presented by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service. Nobody goes above and beyond for their customers like Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people. Nick Morris said, you just said the best of the best, and then said Dak Prescott. That's right. I said the best of the best. When it comes to financials, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys is as profitable a business as you could possibly be in. I believe Todd France, and I looked this up at Forbes earlier today on Todd France, but I believe the amount of active contracts that Todd France has going on right now, or contracts that he has negotiated, are in the area, active contracts of $1.4 billion. So yeah, Dak Prescott's a good business to be in. The best of the best. When you're representing the athletes, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything more valuable in football than the quarterback, than to be the representation for the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Look at your television broadcast. Literally all of them are Cowboys or former Cowboys, because that is the level of star power that brand brings to the player, whether they're mid or not. Anyway, we don't have to get into that. So the Derrick Henry stuff, here's what I know, okay? Amy Adams Strunk didn't veto a trade. That was reported by Paul Kaharski and something that I have been able to confirm in real time. The Baltimore Ravens were and remain, until the deadline tomorrow, we'll see, the most interested team in Derrick Henry. The Titans have not received an offer that they feel like is worth it for Derrick Henry. And then fourth and finally, there is a lot of frustration both within the Titans organization and in the league about the lack of effective and clear decision-making that the Tennessee Titans organization has shown around the Derrick Henry situation. People aren't sure who's making the final call, okay? Rand Carthon is the general manager. Amy Adams Strunk ultimately has the most power in the organization, right? Nothing is getting done without Amy, even though it is reported and confirmed that Amy Adams Strunk did not veto any kind of Derrick Henry trade. But the person who people are, who you would most associate with transactions and personnel decisions is whom in an NFL organization? Well, more than likely, it's the general manager. If you're guessing 9 times out of 10, this example is the 10th, because Rand Carthon, while he is the general manager of the Tennessee Titans, his level of decision-making power is trumped not only by his owner, but by his coach. The whole collaboration thing, the whole, I'm here to work with Mike. I'm here to build Mike the football team that he wants. Mike. That's not just lip service. That's Rand Carthon's job. This is not what the structure has been previously, right? Where John Robinson, the general manager, has the ability to hire or fire a coach in this situation. Now, Rand Carthon has that power theoretically, but in actual practice, that's not how this current organization is structured. And again, there is frustration from people within the organization about the lack of clarity on who actually has final say. And that, of course, is carried over into the Derrick Henry situation. And that has caused frustrations outside the Titans organization, because people are just looking for a clear answer. So I think that when they hired Rand Carthon, and we were all in the press conference with Vrabel and Carthon about, all right, who has finals to say over personnel? And none of them would give us a clear answer. Well, that's because, one, it makes it harder for us to point the finger at an individual, or you as fans to point the finger at an individual when a bad decision is made, right? Normally, you would just say, oh, it's the GM's fault. But the coach is as culpable in these personnel decisions, and in fact has more power than he's ever had over personnel decisions than ever before. Um, Rand Carthon is going to be a fascinating figure to see how this plays out moving into the future. Because the feedback that I continually hear, and Rand just got here basically, even though that was in January, is that there's a lot of decisions, or that Rand Carthon, where the general manager would be the ultimate decision maker on personnel, is very much not, or at least is not like clearly and obviously that within the organizational structure. And that's probably pretty crazy for some of you to hear. Now, this may work, right? It may work as currently constructed. I have no idea. But this marriage between Vrabel, Amy and Rand, this whatever you want to call it, this union between the three of them, perhaps this is a structure that makes the most sense for them moving forward. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But I know that there is internal frustration. I know that there's external frustration, and that winning covers up all of this stuff, and that Derrick Henry, to his credit, has been nothing but a good soldier. So I think TK says they're even talking about Derrick Henry trade on Monday Night Football. That's because it's not dead. Like, let me give you some context on this here in just a second. A quick reminder that the Primetime Show is presented by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to truemathfitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. True Math Fitness has all kinds of great options for you. Group fitness style classes, boot camp, 40 minutes, for boot camp style classes, 40 minutes in and out, efficient and easy. Personal training. I love their personal training. Their coaching staff is exceptional. Or to check out their membership options for all of those things, plus access to their facility conveniently located in downtown Nashville in the Gulch. TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free. Puka says, Buck asked somebody about Fisher and Floyd. I worked with Floyd Reese. It was, on the media side of things, I'm very familiar with the situation and how contentious things got between Fisher and Floyd. And I, full disclosure, well, I'm biased. I don't know Jeff Fisher well. I know him a little bit. Floyd Reese was somebody who was very, very kind to me when I first got hired as a part-time. I wasn't even hired when I first met Floyd, but I was a unpaid intern to part-time overnight employee to covering the Titans during the day for $10 an hour because the station that we were at was too cheap to pay me anything more than that. Hell, the reason that I left is because I asked them for $12 an hour and was told, yeah, we don't have that in the budget, which is how I fortunately ended up here at A to Z Sports, and then got, a much better situation with a midday show on the Titans flagship network on 104.5 The Zone. So it all came up roses, right? But at the time, Floyd Reese was such a great resource for me because I had to learn not just about the current team and everything that was going on with it when I first got here, but about the history of the Titans and the Oilers. And, because respectfully, I didn't give a shit about any of that before I was paid to be here, live here, and work here, and said, okay, that's a lane. This place doesn't have anybody covering the local professional football team. Why don't I go start covering the football team? And I spent my nights memorizing it, and I would talk to Floyd during the day. So long story short, I'm biased, okay? I'm biased when it comes to Floyd. I got a lot of respect for Floyd. He helped me a lot. And we miss him very much every day, obviously. But I think that hey, Derek says the story of how Buck is now making $12 an hour. Yeah. We finally got there, guys. No, they fortunately A to Z Sports took really, really good care of me, took a chance on me, and then whether that was the right decision or not, it ended up working out for me. So I'm always grateful to Austin and Zach as their first full-time employee, where now I think they employ like 50 or 60 people. It's crazy how much bigger the company has gotten. Anyway, we don't have to get bogged down. So I'm biased towards Floyd, but I know how bad things got between Floyd and Fisher towards the end, where the personnel decisions were concerned. Buck's always bragging, says Adrian Martinez. Yeah, that's right, because I'm super impressive. I don't know why. I don't know how many times I have to tell you that, but I can keep bragging if you would like me to. I'm very impressed with myself. I also think you should be impressed with me, Adrian. So, as long as I'm still around, I'll make sure that I'm reiterating that, because I am a very impressive individual. Anyway, so we look at the situation between Vrabel and Rand and say, okay, it doesn't matter who ultimately is the decider. All right. Maybe you think it does, but personally, I don't care who ultimately makes the decision, somebody just make a damn decision, because they have not displayed a clear and obvious plan, nor did they have to disclose a clear and obvious plan, but they have not displayed a clear and obvious plan for how to handle Derrick Henry moving forward. He's too important for you to leave floating in the wind like this. He's not the most important player in the history of the franchise. I'm not going to argue that. But he's probably, not probably, he's in the top 10, okay? Going back to 1960, there's been a lot of players who have played for this organization. There have been a lot of players who have given everything that they've got to this organization. And there's really not that many of them. There was 120 of them out there on the field today. And there weren't that many of them that are more important than Derrick Henry. Eddie George was out there. Eddie's one. He's the second all-time leading rusher in your franchise history. And he's up there on the podium playing absolute good soldier, saying, I know the situation for in fact, I'll read you the Derrick Henry quote. I'll read you the Derrick Henry quote from Sunday night about the trade situation that he's been in. Because, again, Derrick has had to answer questions about this. And, thank God for Derrick's sake, it's tomorrow, because either he will or will not be on this team moving forward, and he won't have to answer questions about it anymore. So here's the quote from Derrick Henry about the trade stuff. Obviously, you see all this stuff, people texting, and there's a lot going on. He say, she say, but at the end of the day, I'm a grown man, and I've got a job to do, and that's to come to work and do my job, and that's what I'm always going to be focused on until I'm told something differently. Got a child at home that I got to feed, and that's my main focus. Coming in to do my job the best way I know how, and helping this team win. Until something else happens, that's my main focus. Then he's asked a question yesterday if Rand Carthon told him that they don't want to trade you. Because remember, Adam Schefter reported that Derrick Henry was told he wouldn't be traded. Derrick never said definitively that that's what he was told. This was the response. I've talked to Rand, we had talks, and feel like everything is going in a positive direction, which is not, hey, we're not going to trade you, which is what was reported by the biggest insider in the NFL, Adam Schefter. And I'm not using this as a thing to needle Schefter. I'm just saying Derrick Henry saying, or at least is not definitively saying, that this was a conversation that he had. I understand my position in the lifespan of it is not too long, and I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger. But at the end of the day, I know it's a business. I understand that. Like Coach said earlier this week, we know what we signed up for, and sometimes the business is not what you always want, but it's a business. At the end of the day, I'm a Titan. I'm happy to be a Titan and do whatever I can to help this organization to win and hopefully keep going further and further and do what we can to possibly get a championship this year. Derrick Henry doesn't want to leave. Derrick Henry loves Nashville, loves the Titans organization, loves you guys, loves the security and the comfort of the environment that he has created. His family is in Dallas. His daughter is in Dallas specifically, and that's where he spends the bulk of his time in the offseason, also because his trainer, who, is at this point world-renowned because, oh, my God, look at Derrick Henry. That's also where his trainer is. But he's out there floating in the wind, right? And the organization has left him with precious little clarity. And I know that the business supersedes all individual players, but I can know that and still think that it's bullshit that Derrick Henry is being handled this way. He is a player who, it's not just about what he does on the football field, obviously. And the same could be said of Kevin Byard. Eric Alonso does what I normally do. He says, Derrick doesn't love us. He loves his millions. Eric, you don't know that person at all. If that's one, I think we have, and I say this often enough because I love you guys, but you're often wilding in the chat. I oftentimes say that Derrick Henry is basically, by the way, at halftime, not expected to be traded, according to Adam Schefter, who is on television right now of the halftime of the Monday Night Football broadcast, talking about this with a couple of players on the docket: Derrick Henry, Kirk Cousins, and Matt Stafford. I also don't expect Derrick Henry to be traded, but it's not done yet, So Eric Alonso, long story short, says one of the most ignorant statements that we've had in the history of, what is it, almost 5 years of me doing this primetime show. You have no idea who Derrick Henry is. And I'm not saying that I know Derrick Henry super well or any of that. I'm not pretending that. I'm not I'm not pretending. I'm not acting like that at all. But I know Derrick Henry well enough to know that I'm usually cynical. And I'm usually the person telling you, yeah, these players don't care as much about you or your organization as they do the paycheck and how they provide for your family. And no, it would be incorrect to say that Derrick Henry cares more about you than it is about how he provides for his family. Priority-wise, of course that's the case. But it's ignorant to say that Derrick Henry loves his millions and doesn't love the city of Nashville and doesn't love the fan base. That again is casting a wide net about an individual who, as professional athletes go, you don't know your favorite players, right? You don't know them personally. The only reason I can say that comfortably about Derrick is not because I know him personally, but because I've spent, what is it? Is this 8 years of Derrick Henry? Yeah. I think my rookie year reporting was Derrick's rookie year, 2016. So yeah, 8 years of this. You can't, I'm not saying, listen, Eric, 9 times out of 10, you'd be right that the professional athlete doesn't care about you as much as he cares about his bank account. And I'm not saying that Derrick Henry doesn't care about his money. He wants to make sure that he's well compensated, but he's a very different individual in a lot of ways, Derrick Henry. But I don't think that he's a player that you can cast under that net anyway. So let's, not a real Titans fan with that comment, says Jamar. No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I think that, like I said, Eric is right with a statement like that about pro athletes more often than not. I just don't, I'm making sure to clarify, I don't think Derrick fits under that category is all I'm saying. So I don't think you need to revoke Eric's fandom because he said something that more often than not is going to be accurate. Anyway, so let's keep it moving. No, you can't trade Eric. Relax. You can't even date. You keep trying to trade Derrick. You can't even do that right. I'm kidding. Long story short, I don't expect Derrick Henry to be moved. And it's not because they didn't want a deal, but I think it's as much because they can't make up their mind about what it is that they want out of the Derrick Henry situation. I don't think they really have a great plan about the Derrick Henry situation. There's a lot of indecisiveness going on. Now, they don't have to make any kind of decision. Oh, I mean, they do have to make maybe the decision's already been made for them because they didn't take the only trade offer that they got on this circumstance. And that's fine. If they didn't think it was worth it, that's okay. But like the plan moving forward for Derrick, I think you need to have great care about that. And I don't think that they've handled it with great care. Anyway, let's keep it moving on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Puka says Buck can't slap a fan down as well as Wyatt did today. Yeah, don't worry. I've got it. I'm trying to hold myself back from teeing off on that person now because we have a segment specifically on the radio show designed for me to tee off on stupid people. And I do that, but it's very hard to restrain myself from going at, because Wyatt, there's a lot of differences between me and Jimmy Wyatt, and it's what makes Jimmy the best. Jimmy is respectful. Jimmy is genuine. I'm not going to do the whole radio show bit. We'll do it tomorrow at 10:45 because I could not have less respect for the person who thought he called out Jim Wyatt today and actually has no idea what the fuck, what the hell he's talking about. I'm glad I did that on primetime and not on the radio. I'll deal with that tomorrow, 10:45 Central Time on the on the radio show. Interviewing, by the way, Warren Moon and Arden Key dressed as a mayonnaise bottle tomorrow. So I'm going to tee off on this slap at 10:45. I'm going to interview Warren Moon at 11 o'clock. I'm going to interview Arden Key at 11:15. I'm going to do it all. Breaking trade deadline news, dressed as a damn mayonnaise bottle on the radio show tomorrow. Anyway, 10:45. We'll save it. Anyway, fines are applicable, says William Raymer. Not on the internet. Eat it, William. I live to die another day. Anyway, keep it moving on the primetime show. Who you got between the Raiders and the Lions tonight? We'll do that together right after I remind you that the primetime show is presented by Zen Sports. Promo code ATOZTN is how you get in on the action. The action And the Zen Sports app is unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering. Charlie Moon says, you're just spreading rumors. They're not trading Henry. Charlie, you're not paying attention. We've been on the air for 25 minutes. You have no idea what we've talked about for the first 25 minutes of that discussion, where I've just spent 25 minutes repeating all of that. But that's okay, Charlie. That's not your fault. Your job is to listen. You've done so poorly. I'll give you another opportunity for the remaining 20 minutes of the show. God bless you. I award you no points, and may somebody have mercy on your soul. Zen Sports will, and they will give you unlimited 5% cash back on your first 15 days of wagering with that promo code ATOZTN. Terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 or up in Tennessee to bet. Easy says, hello, Buck. How are you? I don't know. I'm about to blow a gasket, which means we're doing great here on the Primetime Show. Who you got? Lions or Raiders tonight? I think that there's a lot of different players in this game that I'm fascinated by, because Detroit is my side chick. Like, I don't get to watch a lot of like live NFL football because obviously I'm working on Sunday, so everything that I get to watch is usually later in the week. The Lions are my side chick this year. I love watching the Detroit Lions play, and I mean, even the game where they got their asses kicked by Bert's Ravens, like, there are moments that, like, Dan Campbell is just fun for me to watch, and they have one of the best offenses in professional football. So I would be lying to you if I said I didn't enjoy the Detroit Lions and have a bit of a rooting interest, at least a fan rooting interest, or a football fan rooting interest in them this year. But the Raiders are a weird science experiment type of team too, because I wanted to see Davante Adams moved at the trade deadline. Doesn't sound like anything. It didn't sound like any of that was going to happen. Derek says, you're cheating on us. Yeah, but at least I'm telling you. Is it cheating if I tell you? I think that's more swinging. But anyway, we don't have to get into the minutia. Jack Penfold says, it won't kill you to ease up on the language. Buck, yes, it will, actually. If I don't say the requisite amount of curse words on the Primetime Show, then I'll blow up. I'll spontaneously combust. So yes, it would actually kill me. You can see the rage building up into me, and my way to express it is to say things like, making fun of people for saying dumb shit on the internet all the time, which is why this is a great outlet for me, which is why I appreciate A to Z Sports for allowing me the opportunity to blow off all the steam on the internet before I have to go keep it clean for 3 hours of sports talk radio 5 days a week. But anyway. Yes, it would actually kill me, Jack. I think that come on, man. Yeah, Jack, the larger point is I don't care. I'm going to cuss. Get over it. Looking at all the different situations for players at the trade deadline, Henry, I don't expect to be moved, but again, I don't think that I know that wasn't for a lack of trying. And then you look at Davante Adams. The Raiders told him specifically that he wouldn't be moved. There's not a lot of players out there who are being actively talked about. They did trade the defensive lineman, the former Giants defensive lineman, to the Seahawks today. Leonard Williams was one of the bigger moves, and I saw that he got a pretty substantial deal out of it. Got a new deal done in that moment, and that was the biggest deal of the day thus far. That was done also because of a deadline that passed at 3 p.m. today that meant that teams after 3 p.m. today could no longer restructure contracts in a way that would allow them, the trading team, to eat some of the salary before they moved a player, which, by the way, is a big reason why I think Derrick Henry is still here tomorrow, because that deadline passed. So now you're talking about a variety of different things for all of these players. And while I've enjoyed watching the Lions all year, I really would like to see Davante Adams in a team that's going to benefit him. And tonight, it just looks like the Lions are going to bleed the Raiders to death slowly but surely. Anyway, Giants paid down Williams' money, says Jack. Yes, that's because they got it done before that deadline, right, Jack? That's what I'm talking about today. Derek, obviously, that has to be submitted to the league. The whole reason that those deadlines exist is because the league needs the paperwork by that certain time, right? So where you see the transactions, they usually come out about 3 p.m., whether that's waiver wire or roster cuts or practice squad guys. That's because those transactions have happened long before 3 p.m. or the deadline on a daily basis, but they have to be submitted to the league and then made official by that deadline. That's how that all works. Anyway, So moving on, we are, we're not going to do a bounce back, and we're not going to do Bert's segment because he's sick. So I'll remind you that the Primetime Show is made possible by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team have you covered. Your constitutional rights, your constitutional right to be a father to your child. If you feel like that has been violated, if you feel like that is being infringed upon, Amanda J. Gentry and her team are passionate about defending you. Go to AmandaJGentry.com for more information. Wherever justice demands, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. MB says, good. No one needs a bunch of 6th and 7th picks for quality players. Talking about Derrick Henry's situation, I'm inclined to agree. Ben Hall says, Bert likely coping over Derrick. You know, he went, so the day before I told Robert, or that I told you guys, that Derrick Henry was that the Ravens were the most interested team for Derrick Henry. I got that call the night before, or those calls, because there were several calls about that. Got those calls about 5 minutes before the primetime show started. And as Bert was readying the broadcast to hit go live and, you know, put me in front of all of you guys with the knowledge of that and not being able to tell you just yet, I let Bert know. I said, hey, your football team, they're sniffing around Derrick Henry. And he kind of downplayed it a little bit. And he didn't show much emotion in real time. He kind of shrugged it off a little bit. And then I could see him in the background, instead of playing video games like he normally does, vigorously researching all the various Derrick Henry Ravens trade rumors, scenarios. He's sending me tweets from Ravens beat writers about draft capital that they have and all these things. And slowly, he got himself excited about the idea of Derrick Henry on his Baltimore Ravens. But it does not appear that will come to pass. Again, deadline's not till 3 p.m. tomorrow, so we will wait and see whether this actually passes with Derrick Henry remaining on the roster. I do think that the Titans owe him more. And like I said, there's a lot of people in this organization who are not crazy with how the current power construct has gone, and really the lack of decisiveness that they've shown specifically about this individual. That's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Quick reminder that the Primetime Show is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, GaryAshton.com, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators, who I saw get a win on Saturday. I went and saw my first win since the pandemic started at Bridgestone Arena, a shootout win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Good job by the Preds. The Preds don't sell without the intel that only Gary Ashton can provide. So, radio show, going to be lit. We've got to tee off on some dumbasses at 10:45. We're going to interview Warren Moon, Hall of Famer and Houston Oilers legend, at 11 a.m. That's going to be on Zoom, so make sure you're watching. That's going to be on video, so that make sure you're watching the radio show on the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. If you are watching said live stream here or Facebook, all of those things are live stream for the radio show as well. And then we're going to interview Arden Key at 11:15. And I'm going to do all of those things on Halloween dressed up as a jar of mayonnaise, because I said if Will Levis won the game on Sunday in his first start that I would dress up as a can of mayonnaise for Halloween. We had some great audience members come through and deliver not just the jar of mayonnaise costume, but came with a latte costume that Lucas is going to have to wear on the radio show tomorrow for our coffee and mayonnaise bit. It's going to be a great time. Have a great rest of your evening. Prime time tomorrow. And, if not, we'll do it all again on A to Z Sports Prime Time. I said prime time tomorrow, like I didn't mean the radio show. Either way, I've talked too much. I'll see you guys.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Titans. Let the world hear us now. This is our team. Go Colts!